you for joining us on a Friday afternoon where most of the Jiva souls are busy engaged in non-Krishna conscious activities. You chose this to come here, so thank you for that. So we'll get started with a brief prayer to the spiritual master. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Manchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Welcome once again. And welcome Jyoti Mataji. And on iPhone we have, anybody wants to guess who's on iPhone? Who joins us?
Subodhini. Mataji.
Subodhini. Dandavat pranams. Okay, so since last time, I don't know how many of you were here last time, but we have started using a different model for this class. And what we do is that we read the translations of the whole chapter, taking turns reading. And since today we have a few number of people, you might get a bigger chance, more opportunities to read. So I will call you out in the order of appearance that I know. I know Sukomal Mataji joined first and then Satapa. I don't know when Jyoti Mataji joined and when Subodhini Mataji joined. So say that again.
I can talk, Mataji. Sorry.
You can talk? You can't talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay,
today, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And then Garima is there. Okay, so we will read in the order Sukomal, Sutappa, and then Subodhini won't read today, and then Jyoti and Garima. Okay, just remember your place. So I'm sharing the screen here. We are doing chapter number 8 of Bhagavad-gītā. Each one of us going to read one translation. And if more join, just let me know. I'm not looking at the screen there. Text number 1, Arjun inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is the material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. You are speaking on mute.
Sorry. Who is the Lord of sacrifice and how does he live in the body, O Madhusūdana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental, living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called adhiyajñaḥ, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities.
Jyoti Mataji, can you read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. O best of embodied being, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation, the universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of sun, moon, is called Adi Deva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the Super Soul in the heart of every embodied being, I am called Adhiyajñaḥ, the Lord of Sacrifice. And whoever at the end of his life quits.
We are doing only one words each.
Okay, sorry,
Yeah,
Mata.
no problem. I was scrolling it for Garima to read. Garima, can you read?
Yeah, Mataji.
Okay, sorry.
And whoever at the end of life quit his body, remembering me alone at once, attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Okay, we will circle back, I think, right? Is there anybody else?
I think Kiran Goel Mataji joined.
Joined? Okay, good. Kiran Goel Mataji, go ahead. Read one words, translation for text 6. I am assuming you can read. Kiran Goel Mataji, you are on mute. Okay, maybe she cannot read, so we'll go back to Sukumal Radhe Mataji and we'll pick her up if needed. Yeah. Sukumal Radhe Mataji. Did we lose her?
Therefore, 7, right, Mataji?
Yes.
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. Sorry about that.
No problem. Who's next? Who comes
Yeah.
after Sukumal?
Yes, Mataji, me.
Okay.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me.
Jyoti.
Hare Krishna ji, one should meditate upon the Supreme Person as one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, which is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond the material nature. Hare Krishna ji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Who comes after?
One who at the time of death fixes his life here between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engage himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Okay, Kiran Goel Mataji, are you in a position to read? Okay, Sukumal Radhe Mataji, let's take 11.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. On one establish himself in yoga.
Jyoti.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet. Hare Krishna Ji.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Partha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attends to me abode, O son of Kuntri, never takes birth again.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. Hare Krishna Ji.
At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities will become manifest from the unmanifested state, and therefore, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifested again.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, the part remains as it is.
That which the Vedantas describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns. That is my supreme abode. Hare Krishna Ji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him.
O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I read?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Text 26. According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when he passes in darkness, he returns. Hare Krishna.
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Haribol. Okay, nice. Thank you for reading that. Any words that struck your mind as you were reading or somebody else was reading? Anything you remember from this recitation?
Those
Actually,
who, yeah.
Go ahead. Garima, go.
Those who meditate, Krishna said, those who meditate on me at last will come to me.
Nice. More?
Yeah, the last verse actually, because it kind of comprises the whole thing that even after doing all this, only simply by devotional service you will come to me, because all these come under devotional service.
Good. What else?
At the Brahma's day, the living beings are created, and at the end, all are annihilated.
And during his night, yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's go into verse number 2, which is our verse today. But before I go to verse number 2, I also wanted to quickly go to chapter 7 and look at the last verse, just to make a connection there to verse 730. So where he's saying Sadi Bhutadi Devam Mam Sadi Yagyam Cha Ye Vidhu prayāṇa-kāle Pichamam Te Vidhu Yukta Chetasaha. So here he's saying that those in full consciousness of me who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation, and also the governing principle of the demigods, and governing principle of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me. So one who knows that all these governing principles are actually Krishna, then he can know him, he can understand and know him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Right? So if we go back again to the beginning of this chapter, Bhagavad-gītā 7.1 or 7.2, I think one of the two verses. So here we'll do the Sanskrit. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjam Madashrayaha Asamshayam Samagramam Yatha-gyāsyasi Tachrunu. So here the most important word here in this particular verse is Tachrunu. So if you look at the meaning of that, what does it say?
Try to hear.
Try to hear, right? And then Krishna speaks for 28 verses. In chapter number 7, talks about various things. And in the end, what he's doing is, like I had mentioned previously also, he's trying to, that's one of the teaching techniques, he's trying to see whether Arjuna is being attentive or not. Because he said, Tachrunu. He told him to listen. And is he really listening or not? So he puts all these difficult words there. And in 7.30, he was saying that how, who is one who knows him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the governing principle of the three things, material manifestation, Adibhut, and then he governs all the demigod, Devas, and adhiyajñaḥ, all the sacrifices. And then also he's saying, talking about the time of death, right? So remember him at the time of death. So he has said all these things. So here in chapter number 8, verse number 2, Arjuna is continuing and he says, adhiyajñaḥ katham kotra dehe smin Madhusūdana prayāṇa-kāle katham jñeyo niyatātmabhiḥ. So it's adhiyajñaḥ, the Lord of sacrifice. Katham, how. Kaha, who. Atra, here. Dehe, in the body. Asmin, this. Madhusūdana, O Madhusūdana. Prayāṇa-kāle, at the time of death. Cha, and. Katham, how. Jñeyaḥ, you can be known. Niyata-ātmabhiḥ, by the self-controlled. So here he's saying, who is the Lord of sacrifice? So what is Lord of sacrifice? Which is the word?
Adhiyajñaḥ.
Adhiyajñaḥ. And how does he live in the body, O Madhusūdana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death, right? So immediately when Krishna was saying, adhiyajñaḥ, adhibhut, all that he says in previous person, and also talks about knowing him at the time of death. So immediately Arjuna is asking this question, that how can a person know you at the time of death? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord of sacrifice may refer to either Indra or Vishnu, right? Because a lot of people go and do sacrifices. Right? There's some sacrifices for Vishnu, some is for Surya, some is for Chandra. The people do all kinds of worship and sacrifices for various kinds of demigods. So now, the king of all the demigods is Indra, right? So if somebody is saying Lord of sacrifice, somebody might also think that, is he referring to Indra? Indra is the lord of all the material sacrifices, right? Or lord of sacrifice could be Vishnu also, because in chapter 5, Vishnu says in the end of the chapter, Bhoktaram Yajña Tapasam. I'm the one who enjoys Yajña and the Tapasas, the results of Yajña and Tapasa. So here, Prabhupada explains, Vishnu is the chief of the primal demigods, including Brahma and Shiva, and Indra is the chief of the administrative demigods. Both Indra and Vishnu are worshipped by Yajna performances. But here Arjun asks, who is actually the Lord of Yajna sacrifice, and how the Lord is residing within the body of the living entity. Krishna addresses the Lord as Madhusūdana because Krishna once killed a demon named Madhu. Actually, these questions, which are of the nature of doubt, should not have arisen in the mind of Arjuna, because Arjuna is a Krishna conscious devotee. Therefore, these doubts are like demons. Since Krishna is so expert in killing demons, Arjuna here addresses him as Madhusūdana, so that Krishna might kill the demonic doubts that arise in Arjuna's mind. Now, the word prayāṇa-kāle in this verse is very significant, because whatever we do in life will be tested at the time of death. Arjuna is very anxious to know of those who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. What should be their position at the final moment? At the moment of death, all the bodily functions are disrupted and the mind is not in a proper condition. Thus, disturbed by the bodily situation, one may not be able to remember the Supreme Lord. Maharaj Kulshekara, a great devotee, prays, "My dear Lord, just now I am quite healthy, and it is better that I die immediately so that the swan of my mind can seek entrance at the stem of your lotus feet." The metaphor is used because the swan, a bird of the water, takes pleasure in digging into the lotus flowers. Its sporting proclivity is to enter the lotus flower. Maharaj Kulshekara says to the Lord, "Now my mind is undisturbed and I am quite healthy. If I die immediately thinking of your lotus feet, then I'm sure that my performance of your devotional service will become perfect. But if I have to wait for my natural death, then I do not know what will happen, because at that time the bodily functions will be disrupted. My throat will be choked up and I do not know whether I shall be able to chant your name. Better let me die immediately." Arjun questions how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at such a time. Okay? Adhiyajñaḥ katham dehe smin Madhusūdana prayāṇa-kāle katham niyatātmabhiḥ. Okay, so we'll stop here. We've read quite a big purport here, and let's stop and take some reflections on this. Anything that you heard so far that struck your mind? Any questions that are coming in your mind? Are you all speaking on mute?
Can we go and check?
Yes, absolutely. You should go and check. You should never leave an opportunity to go and touch the Gita again.
When Maharaj Kulshekara asks for this, that take me now, because I am healthy and it'll be a great benediction for me. Do you think Krishna will respond to that? He's just praying that, I know, but
Yeah. Krishna will not respond. And actually, although he's praying, it's a sentiment that a devotee is expressing because he's so attached to the Lord and he's so worried that he might forget, right? But in Ishopanishad, verse number I think 17 of Ishopanishad, it says that Vayur Anilam Amritam Yathedham Bhasmantam Shariram Om Krito Smara Kritam Smara Krito Smara Kritam Smara. So he's saying that, when I'm dying and all the elements of my body will go and get merged into the element, like there's a lot of earth in my body. So if you burn me, then the ashes go back to earth, right? So, and then the fire from the body goes back to the fire, like that. Then he says, at that time, oh my Lord, please remember all that I have done for you. So it's like a give and take thing. I did for you, now you think about it.
Oh, yeah.
And then Krishna, then Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, and he says that that a devotee need not worry about that, because Krishna will make sure that have that faith that Krishna is going to make sure. Yeah.
Because at the time of death, it's really hard because you're having so many physical and mental disabilities. You may or may not think, you're just thinking of yourself and your pain all the time.
Right.
I mean, I know we have to think of it, but I'm not sure whether it always happens.
Yes, and that Krishna, depending proportional to your Krishna consciousness, those thoughts will come back. And Prabhupada explains that the kind of life that you lead, that will govern a lot on how you behave at the time of death. And I always tell this story that that man who was a businessman, he used to, not a good businessman, he used to cheat and sell in the black market and shortchange people and get sub-quantity, substandard material, sell it off. That, like, he used to do all that. But then he had named 4 of his sons by the name of the Lord, like Vishnu, Shiva, Krishna, like that. He named them. And then when he dies, his sons were all beside his bed. And so then he says, when he's about to die, he says, where is Vishnu? So Vishnu says, I'm here. Where's Shiva? I'm here. So that way he calls out all his 4 sons. And the sons were all there with their father, because they knew the father's going to leave the body. So they were surrounding him. And then he says, like, oh, so all 4 of you are here. Then who's in the shop? And if you leave the shop alone like that, some thief is going to come and steal it. And he said, oh, chore, chore, chore. And then he died.
Oh.
Right? So antakale samameva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nasasti sanshaya. It's the opposite verse of what happened in this story. Right? In this story, so whatever you have done during a life, that is going to come back. So that is why we should be doing Krishna consciousness throughout our life. And once you get into that, then we don't worry about, what is going to happen to us. Is Krishna really going to take care of it? Because Vasudeva parasarve na kutaschina bhivyati swarg apavarga narkeshu api tulyartha darshana. So what that means is that a person who is surrendered to Krishna, a person surrendered to Krishna, he is not afraid of anything. Right now, our fear is that will I remember Krishna at the time of death or not? Right? My fear is, he said, no, he doesn't fear. Na kutaschina bhivyati. He doesn't fear anything. Swarga, why? Because swarga apavarga narkeshu. So whether he is in the heavenly planets, or whether he's gone to the transcendental planets, or whether he's in the hellish planet, he doesn't bother, because all that he wants is that every place and every situation that he is, he just wants to continue to do devotional service to the Lord. Because that's something you can do in any situation, right? We just have to be firm in doing that. So, so we have to get over this give and take responsibility, right? Give and take mentality with the Lord. And but it is also very beautifully one of the give and take with the Lord. And sometimes, the give and take is a loving exchange, right? So sometimes people have such a nice relationship with the Lord that they engage in these loving exchanges with the Lord. Also, normally we say you have loving exchanges with the devotees. So a classic example of that we see in Kevat and who is a Bhil, right? Kevat and Lord Ramchandra ji. So when Lord Ramchandra is in exile, and he's walking, he meets Shabari, right? He also meets Ahilya, right? So Ahilya was cursed by her husband, right? And she becomes a stone. And then Lord Ramchandra ji touches her, and she becomes a lady, right? So then this pastime happens, and then Ramchandra is continuing down, and he comes across a river, and he wants to cross the river, and he needs help. So he takes help from Kevat, right? Because Kevat was a boatman. So he will take you from one clothes to the other. So he takes, and so when he goes there, and he's also a devotee of the Lord, Kevat. So when Ramchandra says that, well, will you take me in the boat? Then he says that, oh my Lord, I'm such a poor person. And if you touch my boat with your feet and it becomes a lady, just as I said, what's going to happen to me, right? I mean, his means of earning will be gone, the boat, and then now he has to take care of this lady. So he says, "Oh, Lord, please, I'm just scared. I'm just afraid that this should not happen." So anyway, then he says, then Ramchandra sits in his boat and then he goes over to the other side. And so when he goes over to the other side, then, as you get off from the rickshaw, you pay the rickshawala, right? So Ramchandji tries to give him something. And then Kevat says he doesn't take that. He doesn't take that money or whatever Ram was trying to give him, but he says that, I have crossed you. I have helped you cross this river. You helped me cross this ocean of ignorance, this ocean of material world. पार किया मैंने तुझको अब तू मुझे पार करे, like that. So sometimes you have loving exchanges with the Lord. It's a sweet relationship.
I have read this in Hindi. तुम आए हम घाट उतारे, हम आएंगे घाट तुम्हारे, तब तुम पार लगाओ राम, पतित पावन सीता राम.
Sita Ram. Very good.
Very nice.
Yeah.
In olden days, when I was reading that Manka, this verse always touched me.
Nice, very nice. Any other thoughts that come to your mind?
Just now, one Mataji said that when we are in death, we are in pain or this, we forget this. But I want to ask, even in your day-to-day life, when you are in difficulty or when you are not well, tendency is to, forget. You are concentrating more on the pain and not on the bhakti. How to, change your pain into bhakti? I want to know that. It is very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm finding it very difficult to change from pain, disturbances, and tensions to bhakti, because when the things are now normal, your tendency to devotion is better than when you are in pain.
That is
That
true.
is my observation, but I want to know the way.
Yeah. So it is not that our tendency to pray is less when we are in trouble. We can also say that when there is trouble, we call out to Krishna, right? Kunti Maharani also says that Vitta Yadu Shadu Yasatva Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru. He says that I want more calamities to come on me because I have always remembered you. But that is Kunti, right? So from that prayers of Queen Kunti, we can gather this information that we do reach a level of devotional service and devotional perfection that at the time of difficulties, we will reach out to Krishna only. So now it's just a matter of practice. Why does it not come naturally to us? And why does it come naturally to Kunti or, Pandavas and, like that? So it's because we are bound by so many material things, including the fact that I'm the body, that the mind's proclivity is to go there, right? Is to go there. And in this verse where they talk about Maharaj Kulshekara, where he's saying that I am very healthy, and what I want is I want the swan of my mind, right? He's using some metaphor there. So the swan of our mind should just engage in your lotus feet, right? So in the water, in the material world, in the water, the swan floats in the water or swims in the water, right? And if the lake is full of lotus flowers, then what it does is it will go and put its mouth on the lotus and try to move the lotus, try to play with it. So this is what the swan of our mind does. That with anything that is material, we just try to go and play with the material things around us. So the more that we detach ourselves from our tendency to enjoy the material, then the more the mind will be proportionate to Krishna, because the mind has to engage somewhere. Okay. Now, this thing comes with practice. It can come only through practice and nothing else. So in the beginning, what happens is, since we don't have this natural tendency to turn to Krishna like Prahlad had, right? Dhruv did not have that natural tendency in the beginning. He had to go to his mother, and then the mother guided him, and then Narad Muni guided him, and then he went there, right? And so we have to understand that bhakti comes, there are two levels of bhakti, or two stages of bhakti that are there, devotional service. One is called Vaidehi Bhakti, Bhakti Shastri students, and the other one is called Ragatmika Bhakti. Vaidhi means there is vidhi. Vidhi means steps, do's, don'ts, rules, regulations. So the one way of doing bhakti is that we will be governed by certain rules and regulations, 4 regulative principles, read this books, don't do that, no, don't do this, like that. And we are, so it's not that, if we have love for Krishna, it's still lying dormant. We don't have a, I want to jump and do devotional service. It's not that the moment the alarm goes off that I'm jumping in excitement, I'm saying, oh, I need to go and chant my rounds. We are not in that situation. Okay, but the guidance is there. Spiritual master told you to chant 16 rounds minimum, so you will get up and you will do it, but it doesn't come spontaneously to you, right? So that we are all in the Vaidehi Bhakti stage. And so we have to continue to do this practice till we reach the higher stage, higher stage, which is Ragatmika Bhakti. Rag means attachment, right? So you're so attached to Krishna. You have developed that attachment to Krishna, right? And it's a very high stage of devotional service. Good devotional service starts with Shraddha. Adau Shraddha Tata Sadhu Sangha Tata Bhajana Kriya, like that, right? And then so when you have got attachment, asakti with Krishna, then all these things will come naturally to you. Nobody has to tell you that you have to chant X number of rounds. You will sit down and you will chant as much, as you want. The mind itself wants to do that, right? So that is Ragatmika Bhakti. And so when the Ragatmika Bhakti does, we will constantly do it. And when we are in Ragatmika Bhakti, when troubles come in life, it will be a very natural thing for us to gravitate towards Krishna, always at that time. Till such time as we are not in that stage, we just have to be dependent on the mercy of Krishna, that he will remind us. And that's also a nice prayer that we can offer to Krishna, which is that, Krishna, I'm so fallen that without your help, I cannot do anything. It's a nice way into progress in devotional service. Just surrender to Krishna. Because at this verse is prayāṇa-kāle. I was saying prayāṇa-kāle manasa chalena. Mind becomes very agitated because it's trying to leave this body. It has to go into another subtle body, and all that is stayed in this body for such a long time, right? So what to do? But in this body, there's something else also that stays. And what is that? Together with the soul, who else is there in the body, in our body?
Paramatma.
Paramatma, exactly. And in this verse, who is the Paramatma when he's asking the question? Adhiyajñaḥ katham dehe smin Madhusūdana prayāṇa-kāle cha kathaṁ jñeyo niyatātmabhiḥ. So he's asking two questions. Adhiyajñaḥ, how does it? Katham dehe smin Madhusūdana. So he's asking Madhusūdana that how does adhiyajñaḥ, who's the Lord of all the sacrifices, right? How does he live in my body? And we know that he lives in a body as Paramatma. So Krishna will then explain, subsequently how that happens, right? But in a beautiful verse from the Gopi-gītā also, the gopis also say that. So they are musical verses. Let me just bring up that. It is from the 10th canto, 31st chapter, I think verses 14 or something. Let me see. Yeah, oh no, in the beginning itself, they say that. Okay, 4. So let me share my screen here too. न खलु गोपिका नन्दनो भवान् अखिलदेहिनाम् अन्तरात्मदृक् विखनशार्थितो विश्वगुप्तये सकौ देवान् सात्वतां कुले. So here in this verse, the gopis are saying that you are not actually the son of the gopi Yashoda. Na khalu Gopika, Nandano Bhavan, right? You are not the son of Yashoda, O friend, but rather the indwelling witness in the hearts of all embodied soul, right? He's saying, this is what you are. Anta Atma Drik. So you anta, in the inner consciousness of all the dehinams, of all the living entities in their body, you are living inside them as the second order super soul there. Drik. And you are the seer. What do? You are seeing everything, right? So he's just asking because he is more tuned to Yajna and Vishnu and all that. So he's asking, how does the Vishnu live in our hearts, right? So then one more thing that he asks here is, we go back to our verse from today, 8.2. Adhiyajñaḥ katham kotra dehe smin Madhusūdana, right? And so now, so we have understood that he's asking, Krishna is saying that they will remember, but now he's saying, how do I remember? How do I remember, right? And then we also talked about what happens if I remember something else at the time of death. So whoever you remember, whoever you worship, yanti deva, vrta devan, pitrin yanti pitrivata, bhutani yanti bhutejya, yanti maj, yajinopi mam. So whoever worships the demigods, go to the planet of the demigods. They will think about the demigods at the time of death. Why? Because the whole life they are worshipping. Similarly, ghosts and spirits will go to ghosts and spirits. But one who remembers Krishna will go back to Krishna's planet. Right? And that's what we all aim to do. That's what we start with. But as your devotional service progresses and as your relationship with Krishna deepens, and as you see Krishna's connection with everything else in this material world, then your position becomes like, I don't care really wherever Krishna puts me, as long as I get an opportunity to do devotional service to Krishna, like that, right? So let me bring up a few more verses. Yeah, one more point I wanted to bring up here in that connection is that he addresses the Lord as Madhusūdana. Madhusūdana, right? So he had killed Madhu and Ketava, right? The two demons. And what had Madhu and Ketava done? What was their crime that they got killed? What did they do? Anybody remember?
No.
They stole the Vedas from the mind of Brahma.
Oh.
Right? So Madhu and Ketava, so they did that. So Krishna killed, right? And gave back the Vedas to Brahma, because without the Vedas, how will Brahma do any creation, right? Because that's what Krishna gives him in the beginning of the thing. So then I'll take you to some of the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, which are from the second chapter, divinity and devotional service, and where it is talked about doubts and how this Madhusūdana and why he's addressing him as Madhusūdana. So let me find those verses, and let's take it from there. 1, 2. I'll start from, let me start from verse 12 from there. I think 12 will be good. Even before that. Let's start from 10. Okay, and also show you as well. We won't go into the details of them, but we'll touch upon from starting from. Okay, here. It's a good progress as we go along. But let me share my screen here to you. Here. So all occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. 10. Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Now that you have got the human body, you should inquire. And that's what one of the Vedanta Sutras says, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Right? Athato means now that you have. Now that you have what? Now that you have a human body, what you should do? Brahma jigyasa. You should inquire about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's work. Then number 11, learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth. So here now they are saying that you got a human body, you should know about the absolute truth. Now the question is, what is the absolute truth? So now they're saying this absolute truth is called this non-dual substance called Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan, right? Vadanti tattva tattvidas, that famous verse. This is the one there. Okay. So now, if you're serious about knowing the absolute truth, because there could be that, I might get deviated, the swan of my mind can go off someplace else and start playing with the lotus flowers, right, of this material world. But if I'm really, really serious about that, then text number 12 says, what do these serious people do? It's saying the seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, jnana and vairagya, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Sutra. So how did the seriously inquisitive student or sage get equipped with knowledge and detachment? How did they get knowledge and detachment, right? So here up somewhere, text number 7, it says, by rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world, right? So you have to do devotional service to be able to reach this position that we are talking about in number 12. That seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth or knows God by rendering devotional service. So he will continue to do that devotional service. He'll get some knowledge, and then detachment will come more and more, right? And then how does he do the devotional service? Not just I am going to do it like that because I think it is like that. That is avidhi purvakam. That's not right. In terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti, right? So from our scriptures, whatever he has learned, that's what he does, the inquisitive student. So then he is saying that, O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed of one's own occupation, according to caste divisions and orders of life, is to please the personality of Godhead. So can you tell me that what is the highest perfection?
Please the personality
You
of
are
God.
only thinking about Krishna, and all the time you are in Krishna consciousness.
So here it says that the highest perfection one can achieve is to please the personality of Godhead. That's all we are supposed to do. Okay? So then how do we please the personality of Godhead? Therefore, with one pointed attention, tasmad ekena manasa, make your mind one. One pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. So now it's a very interesting thing. If you are putting one pointed attention towards the Lord throughout your life by glorifying Him, remembering Him, worshipping Him, following His rule, etc., then remember He is a protector of the devotee. So if He's a protector of the devotee, what do you think He's going to do at the time of your death? He's said to be the protector of the devotees, right? So what was your fear? When Mataji expressed a fear, right? What was the fear? One of you expressed a fear, right? Today in this class, short memory, all wiped out.
Somebody
No.
said that the time of death there is a pain,
Yeah.
and all you will not be able to remember God.
You'll not be able to remember God, right? That is the fear that was expressed, right? And what is today's verse saying here? Not today's verse, but this verse saying here. He says that Lord is the protector of the devotees. So if you have a fear that I might think of this and that, what if I think about my dog and I become a dog? Right? So if I have got that fear, but then who is going to protect me? Krishna, because he's a protector of the devotees. So have that faith that Krishna is going to take care of you at the time of death. But what we need to do to make Krishna take care of us at the time of the death is to glorify,
remember, and worship.
Tasmat ekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Pati. Satvatam Pati means protector. Satvatam means the devotee. So he is the protector of the devotees. And how do you remember? How do you please him? By glorifying. Shrotavya kirtitavya syat. Heya pujasya. So Shrotavya, hear about him, glorify them. Kirti, remember, Dehe, and then worship him. Okay. So then here so when you do that, then what happens is that with the sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his messages? O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. Shushusho Shraddha-dhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. So first you have to do Mahat Seva. You have to do service of the devotees of the Lord. And it's such a thing that you have not encountered that in the material world, because this is things happening on the transcendental plane, that you go and serve a devotee, and then by washing his utensils or doing whatever, like how Narad Muni used to wash the utensils of the sages, then you gain an affinity for hearing the messages of us. You gain an affinity for Krishna Katha. How are the two related, right? That's the mystic transcendental world. It's an activity happening in the transcendental plane. Now here also it is saying, Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul, right? And that's what Arjuna is asking there. Adhiyajñaḥ katham kotra dehe smin Madhusūdana. So he's staying there. How does he say that? So he's saying, who is this Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the true devotee. Imagine, he's your benefactor. Cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee, who has developed the urge to hear his messages. And how do you develop the urge to hear his messages? What do you have to do? How do you develop the urge to hear messages of Krishna?
Service.
Service.
Active
Shushusho Shattadhanasya Vasudeva Katharachi Syan Mehat Sevaya. Syan Mehat Sevaya. Right? So then this is how you will develop, right? And as you are serving them, you will develop the affinity to hear messages of the Lord. When you start listening to the message of the Lord from within your heart will also will start cleansing your heart of all the things, right? By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgiving means doubts. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as the master, right? So there Arjuna is addressing, in today's verse in Bhagavad-gita, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Madhusūdana, the one who killed Madhusūdan demon. So that he's just saying that Krishna, you kill the demons. And doubts are like demons, especially doubts like, is there Krishna? Is he the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Such doubts coming to a devotee are really dangerous, and they're like demons. And so he's praying to Krishna and saying, Krishna, you kill the demons, and you have the capacity and the capability to kill the demons. Why don't you kill the demon of my doubts also, right? And for us who don't have Krishna standing in front of us to kill the doubts, the demons of our doubts, this is the process that we talked about here in the Bhagavatam, that you should do service of the Syan Mahat Sevya. As you do the service, listen to Krishna Katha, and then Krishna will start cleansing your heart from inside of material desires and material attachments. And when that happens, then, all your doubts are going to go away. And then for you also, Krishna is going to become Madhusūdana. In that form, he's going to kill all the demons of our doubts. So I'll stop here. It's close to top of the hour, and I'll open it up for questions or reflections.
Hare Krishna Mataji, one request. Now you're not sending the recording of the shloka of Sunday class?
No. I was not feeling well last Sunday, so I just gave the class and then I went to sleep. Yeah, I was not feeling well at all. I did see your message, but during the week, my thing is very, very busy, but I will post it. Yeah. I had recorded
because when I hear your voice now, so many things become more clear, because I keep comparing with your this thing so that I can get exact.
Yes. I did record it also. Yeah, I recorded also, but I just didn't post it because I was very, very unwell on Sunday.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself, Mataji.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Anything else, dear devotees?
Mataji, do you want to tell this group that you are giving the Sunday class? So
you already told.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't tell. I didn't tell.
Now you told.
Now I told.
Yeah. I'll post the details on the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a few things that you learned from the class. If you're not going to ask me questions, then I will ask you questions. While Sutapa is still here with us. She left last time, I didn't have a chance to say Haribol to her. So what did we learn in today's class? Today's shloka is talking about what?
Not only today's shloka, but even the Bhagavatam thing, it's the most important thing that struck me was like to clear the doubts and the demons in our heart.
Yeah.
That is very important for devotional service.
Yeah. Yes. Doubt should not be there. And if you have doubts, then you get them clarified. You go to somebody senior to you or go to your spiritual master, ask the question, and they will clarify. Well, that's because they have seen the truth. So they will tell you the truth. Like that, yeah. Anybody else would like to tell?
Yeah, that only, that demons, like it was said that how Arjuna, being so devoted and still asking this question, that how is Supreme Personality of Godhead is within the living entity, then yeah. And the service to pure devotees is the key to advance.
Exactly. And later on in this chapter, so we were talking about Shrotavya Kirtitavya Cha Deha Pujasya Nityada in the Srimad Bhagavatam verses, right? So one has to remember. And so later on in the chapter, Krishna will talk about that if a person is focusing his mind, Ananya Chetaha Satatam Yomam Smriti Nityasya Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yoginaha. So he said that one who engages his mind without deviation in me, always remembers me. He says that for him, I'm very easy, sulabh, very easy to obtain. So all that we have to do is to just keep on cleansing our heart. Keep on cleansing our heart. Be very focused. Be very focused on where the mind is taking you. What sort of thoughts are coming in your mind. And if a bad thought comes, that somebody insulted us and now we are thinking about what we can do to that person, right? Not you, but I'm generally saying. Then, or even that, I think such and such a person is like that. So when you have this, if you encourage such thoughts, then more such thoughts are going to be created. So there is a term in English which says nip it in the bud, right? Nip it in the bud. So when the thought itself is coming into your mind, before you action it, what we should do is we should just scold the mind, just say that this is a wrong thought. And the beauty of that is, and it's like a child, right? When a child is doing something silly and naughty and the mother comes and says, no, don't do it, the child registers that and knows that this is wrong. If I'm trying to do something, mom is going to scold me, so I should better not do it. So same thing happens with the mind also. So as you keep on observing the wrong thoughts that come to the mind and emphasizing at that point by saying that, no, this is a wrong thought, this is not what it is, mind is also registering that good thing. So next time, if you keep on doing this, then the mind will stop, bothering you. That is how the mind becomes your friend. In the beginning, the mind is your enemy by planting all these suggestions. You're not the one thinking about these thoughts. It's the mind's database goes to the database and picks up. Like how ChatGPT goes and answers your question. It goes there to some place and then gets all the answers and gives them to you. Similarly, mind also does the same thing. It just goes. But you are the soul and you are superior to the mind. So you can always tell the mind, this is not the right one. This is not the right way of thinking. So the mind is registering, okay, this is not the right way of thinking, right? This is how the artificial intelligence of this world also works, right? Because there's a lot, like when a child is growing up, the child doesn't know anything, right? If you tell him, bring an apple, he'll say, what is an apple? Okay, bring a banana, what is a banana? Oh, this is the sun, what is the sun? They keep on asking you questions, small kids. What is a table? Oh, this is a table. You point out and say, oh, this is a table. So the child captures from his eyes or her eyes the quality or properties of a table. He says, okay, something with a flat on the top and 4 legs inside it. So it keeps on collecting all different kinds of data about the table and registers in the mind that this is a table. And as it sees more and more tables, and you keep on telling that, Mama, is this a table? Next, they see a dining table. Is this a table? Then they see a coffee table. What is this? It's a table. So now they're gathering more data about the table. So next time they see a table, they'll be able to tell that this is a table. So that's how the mind works. So similarly, our mind also works on a large amount of data. And what the mind is going to think depends on the data that you feed to the mind. Right? Have you ever noticed in the old days when you used to watch a movie, you go to sleep watching the movie and you get up in the morning, what's the first thought that you think? It continues from the movie because you fed so much 3 hours worth of junk to the mind. So that's what we have to constantly do and be in the association of devotees and gain good habits. We are 7 minutes over.
Mataji, I'm leaving. I need to go. Okay. Thank you
Hare
for the
Krishna.
session.
We are all going.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Mataji. Thank you so much.
Dandavat
Patitanam Pavnebhyo
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo
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 Namaste. Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Krishna, I'm trying